Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of our EHF Euro Expert Hangouts. It's crunch time here at the EHF Euro. The semi-finals are upon us. Norway will face Germany. Croatia will face Spain tomorrow. So there's going to be plenty to talk about, and I'm very happy to introduce you to tonight's guests. Very special guest. He is here in Krakow, and he has been in Krakow for the past, I think, 6-7 days or so. Harvard Twayton, former Norwegian international, now turned TV commentator. Hi, Harvard. How are you?
I'm fine.
Also, obviously, you know him from the commentator side of things. Tom O'Branigan, EHF TV commentator, here as a presenter. Hi, Tom. How are you? How's your tea?
It's pretty awful, actually. But I think you introduced him incorrectly. I think you should have said major international sex symbol. You know, that is now in competition with me as the prettiest boy on the Hangout. That's what you should have said, Thomas.
You're too kind.
There's your tagline, Harvard. There's your tagline.
You're still number one, you know, Tom.
Thanks, man.
All right, lots of prizes here. Lots of prizes also for Björn, of course. You know, the regular here on our Hangouts. How are you?
Still without a tagline and still no sex symbol. Hi to everybody.
Still without a hashtag, I think, as well.
Still without a hashtag, yeah.
Well, boys, we've got a number 4, Vlado Brinčák, our journalist, who's been here covering the games in Krakow. He'll join us very, very soon. He just has to set up his computer. But Harvard, I mean, obviously, last night's game, your 29-24 win against France, sorry. I mean, without revealing the secrets that shouldn't be told, that must have been a big party night in Norway, in the Norwegian camp.
Yeah, absolutely true. I don't know really what happened to yesterday. The whole day was like crazy for everybody. All the things went upside down. All the results that we maybe thought were going one way, they went the other. But we're obviously very happy with the results, and it came to like a surprise for everybody, I think.
As much as you know about the what happened with the team, what was the atmosphere in the team like after this win?
Yeah, but I think they were quite surprised themselves. When I talked to them, of course, they had a dream about like making such a results, and I think the whole the championship have been like a fairy tale for everybody. But to beat France with the history and everything in such an important game for them as well, it was like unbelievable. They couldn't even believe it. It was like, what happened? I don't know what happened, and we were surprised, and the players were surprised, but obviously very, very happy.
Mm-hmm. Just a quick one before we go on. Obviously, everyone watching, give us your opinions, give us your questions. At EHF Euro is our Twitter handle, so tweet us your questions, and we will ask them to Tom, Harvard, and Björn. Tom, you were in the arena yesterday. What was your impression of this game, and when did you actually think, okay, now they've got it?
My feeling about France, the whole tournament. First of all, congratulations, Harvard, because I mean, it's amazing. Poor old Mr. Tvetten there never got to experience this for all his years playing for Norway, but I think probably even he would say that some of the warmth has flown over him after that. I think that let me take you back a couple of days, Thomas, to the draw, and we did our après match with the guys. Oh my God, there's the big unit. The minute he comes on, the sound goes bananas. Just when I was talking. Oh God. Hi, Vlado.
Go on. Don't let him distract you, Tom. Go ahead.
Okay. I want to I'll take Harvard back and the boys back, because I was there for the draw with Macedonia. Could have been a win. Certain decisions had gone certain ways, and I remember talking to them afterwards. And my feeling was that the expectation was they were going to beat Macedonia. And I was trying to be very philosophical at the end of that one point, sort of saying, you know, actually maybe this is a great thing. Because the expectation in Norway was, we're going to beat Macedonia because, well, why not? We've beaten everybody else. And when that expectation was there, the boys didn't perform as well as they could have. And then I don't like this idea that, oh, maybe if you only lose by 3 or lose by 5, depending on results elsewhere, you can do it. If a player goes in with that mentality, they can't do it. These Norwegian boys, for once, had to listen to the coach and themselves say, look, boys, either we win or we're out. Forget about it. You can't depend on what might happen elsewhere. So when you go in with that mindset, I think it's different. Christian O'Sullivan gave a great line. If you get a chance, watch it on YouTube. It's the après match after the point. He said, we would die for the guy next to us. We would die for the guy. What a thing for a player to say. You don't hear that anymore. There's something refreshingly honest about these Norwegian boys in the way they approach the game. They run, they fight, they run, and then they play for each other. And I think that in terms of France, my feeling in all the competition was that they always felt they could flick the switch, turn on the light, and they were just going to accelerate away. And they came up against a bunch of boys, young fellas who can recover so quickly. And these young lads said, well, we're going to run the legs off you. And France couldn't flick that switch. It's something they have to work on, I think, because they can't just expect to win. And for my mind, it's fantastic for the competition to see so many new teams. Norway, who've always met, it's a kind of a strange thing to say, men's handball, always in the shadow of women's handball. And God damn it, we men, we're taking it back. We're standing up for ourselves. It's enough of these Norwegian women, you know, hogging the limelight. It's our turn now. And I think that's great, you know.
Vlado, hi. Well, first of all, hi. How are you? Have you arrived well? Set up? All good? He's arrived so well that he can't even speak.
There is no problem. No, there is no problem with the connection. I'm still speechless after what I watched yesterday because in 18 years I've been covering handball and I never experienced a handball evening like yesterday, honestly. Speechless. But ready. What's your opinion?
No, I mean, but what was your impression ahead of the game, you know, ahead of the game, knowing that, you know, if France would win it, they'd go through, and Norway would have to wait at least for another hour and a half until the Poland-Croatia result to see whether they are through. Did you expect that they play the way they actually played, or did you expect an entirely different game, Vlado?
It was difficult to say. Basically, I don't know what Tom managed to say in his highly philosophical approach to Norway's game, but I think the Macedonians showed very well how to slow down the Norwegian play, because it was all about really fast movements and running up and down the court. And these guys from Macedonia, they managed it. So it was better for the French to be able to cope with that, and so they would be able to emulate this kind of performance. In the first 15 minutes, they were doing really well with it. Norway saving one shot after another. It looked like, and I have to say that I was completely convinced that France will go through and Norway will be waiting for the result of the later game.
Sorry, Thomas, can you hear Vlado? I'm finding it difficult to hear him.
Try, Vlado, try and take up your headset and unplug it and maybe not use the microphone in your headset. Try and use your computer microphone.
Better now?
Better
now.
Yeah.
Well, turn off the washing machine, will you? Can't hear you with the washing machine going in the background. Going on over there.
You know, after 2 weeks, I had many clothes to be washed, so I just can't waste my
time.
Please
repeat everything you said, Vlado? We didn't hear anything.
But I've been talking for 2 minutes or so. All right.
Come on, Vlado, give us a punchline about yesterday's match to basically sum up.
Okay, punchline was that for the first 15 minutes, I got a feeling that French had the pattern from Macedonia, how to slow down Norwegian fast play. And Omeyer was brilliant in the goal, and I really thought that they probably wouldn't stand a chance against France, and they would have to wait for the result of the last game. But then what happened on the court, that was something what was just the start of the whole evening miracle.
I mean, Björn, these guys obviously were all in Krakow Arena, where you were in Wrocław. covering the matches there. But having followed it from the outside, is Norway the team that absolutely surprised you the most here at this championship?
Definitely, definitely. And it was very funny when the German head coach this morning had his daily media meeting, and he said, he went point by point. He said exactly what we are here is Norway. Maybe even a little bit more surprised. They say a young team, a nice looking coach, as he said. It was a little joke, of course. And then a team which is running with strong defense, good goalkeeper, running. Quite good recovery, some good shooters from the backcourt area. He said, exactly, this is Germany. We are the same as Norway, and unfortunately we have to face an opponent which is flying on the wings, what they are also doing. So what I really say is Norway is doing a real great job. And I remember 2 years ago, Harvard, when we met in Aalborg for the Euro 2014. I still remember there was a young guy who was put in the national team for the first time, and Robert Hedin was the coach. And I think it was his first appearance in a national team match. And Robert took the timeout, and somehow Sandor Sargosen started talking in this timeout, and not the coach. And I said, "What is this crazy guy? And what he's doing here is brilliant."
True.
What is this crazy guy, Harvard? I mean, give us your opinion on Sander. You obviously you play together on the club level, and I think also like in terms of when he arrived to Denmark, you kind of took a bit of care of him, if I'm correct.
Yeah, he's young, so he had to have like a father figure in Denmark, but. To say it like short is difficult, because he's a guy with he's 20 years old, but he's very mature. He has a really good handball understanding, a really good handball head, as we said. He has all the physical things in place. Like he's fast. He can do like he can go both ways. He has a
Sorry,
good arm.
Harvard, what? What did you say there?
Sorry?
What did you say? He can go both ways. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, he can go right and left.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Hello and goodbye.
Yeah. We're talking handball, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry for bringing down the tone of the conversation there.
Yeah. And above that, he has like a winning mentality that's been lacking maybe for some years in Norway. And he's still 20, and he has a lot of years to come, and he has a brilliant future, and he's like down to earth, and he knows that he has a great potential, and he want to develop and become better and better and better, and that's important for a guy who's 20 years old and the whole world thinks he's world class.
Can I jump in there, Thomas, and ask Havard a question, because I'm, you know, it's very rare first that a man, you know, like me gets to talk to such good-looking people, but also because Havard is so close to this team. And what I wanted to ask him was, Havard, you played in all these Norwegian teams, you know, that like for tournament after tournament you're there, but lacking success. And that's difficult to keep going. What is it about this bunch of boys? They seem to have kind of almost grown up together. Is there a core of a team there that's been continuing winning stuff? Because their mentality seems to be very, very different. No, I'm not saying that you guys never went on to win, but maybe there was this feeling of, well, the Swedish and the Danes are always better than us, but these guys seem to don't have that fear. What is that all about?
It's difficult to point a finger on one thing, I think. In 2014, after the tournament in Denmark, the guys changed the coach. We went from Robert Hedin to Christian Berge, and they changed a little bit, took up some more young guys, and continued like the work that Robert had done for several years. And maybe Christian, he was more. He took things to a different level in terms of setting the premises. What's your objective? What do you have to do in this team? And everybody has their role now, and I think it works perfectly, because you can see like in the right backs we have Tønnesen and we have Rankin, and they complete each other in sort of way. The one is if the one guy is not doing the best job, the other one comes in and he has the game of his life, and then maybe they both do a great job, but they still play 15-15. Then you have other players like O'Sullivan, you mentioned. You have Espen Lie Hansen. He's done a great job, and the wingers, and they have many more players, and it spreads like a flu, because
no, it's amazing, because if we just take Espen Lie Hansen, for instance, this is a boy that was at Dunkirk. I remember seeing him play and thinking to myself, you know, he's a big, strong boy, but he's not showing it. Havard, there seems to be a real sense of that they all understand maybe a Norwegian way of playing handball, that maybe that's been discovered, and they're already comfortable in that surrounding, because they're all showing more almost than we would see week in, week out for clubs. They've found another 10% in that collective. I mean, all right, the coach is important, but what are we feeling in this? What is it in this team? It's like almost like a club mentality together.
Yeah, but also you will see that the thing they are playing now, the way they are playing, the way Christian wants them to play. He has looked at the players he has, and what is the skills of Espen Lie Hansen? That's running fast and shooting. That's not like playing with a line player and being like a technical player. That's what he's good at. So I use him in those phases, and I take him out. If we want to play different, I change the player, and then you have a different, like you have many strings to play on.
Amazing, great. That's a great concept, Thomas. Brilliant, great philosophy.
Vlado, you had the opportunity to follow Norway, obviously, all the way from Katowice to Krakow. And how would you describe the team's development? Obviously, they started with their only loss, and then
let's start with the beginning. Just before the first game, when I sat in my place, and I saw just beneath me sitting Havard and Christian Schering, like two stalwarts of the former team. I saw, and I thought that okay, there will be some new guys coming, and let's see how they fare. But I have to say that already their first loss against Iceland was just a very narrow one and a bit unlucky. And when I'm watching this Norwegian team, and this goes along with the words what Havard said, that sometimes I got the feeling that Lego was invented not in Denmark but in Norway, because all these pieces are perfectly placed for a perfect picture on the court. So yeah, I think the only improvement during the tournament was the growing self-confidence. Otherwise, everything was clicking perfectly.
And you mentioned self-confidence. Harvard mentioned winning mentality. Well, looking ahead, where could it take them?
That's the question for me still, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I think they are going to face a very similar team in Germany, and it's great that we are going to see one of the dark horses of the tournament in the final. Taking into account how many injuries Germany has, then in my eyes they are slight favorites in the semi-finals against Germany. But I'm not sure whether, always when underdogs reaches a certain level of success, it's very difficult to stay focused, and this will be a true test for Norwegian and their winning mentality, whether they will manage to do. Maybe you remember when, I don't know, when Serbia beat Croatia in the 2012 semi-final, and they were then not very impressive against Denmark in the final. So this is the only thing I fear for Norway, that could be their struggle. Otherwise, they were happy to keep away from any major injuries, as far as I know. I don't know, Howard, if you have any update on the health status of your team, but compared to Germany, it's a good position, good starting point.
Thomas, there's a couple of things. I think you have to take every tournament on its merits, right? We can only judge Norway on what we see here now. We can't judge. They could fall, like everybody knows with young players, you take 2 steps forwards and you can fall 4 steps back. So we don't know where Norway will be in 2 years at the next big championship they're in. We can only judge them on the merits now, and what they have is momentum and what they have is belief. And when you beat the world champions, Olympic champions, European champions, it's something a coach can't tell you. If you can beat a team like that, these players are imbued with a sense of self-belief that you can't buy, you can't bottle, you can't do anything. There's just a belief that it goes. And it's like a train that starts. The only thing about it is, they're young and you never know what's going to happen. But the German team is young and you never know what's going to happen. And then everybody who's played in a semi-final will tell you, you can never judge a semi-final. It's such an all or nothing game that there is no headspace that you can be in. You can't quantify the feeling of what you will lose if you don't, if you lose, and what you would gain if you win. And because of that, you never see the top quality games you see. And in the end, I hate to say it, but it's the guy with the biggest hands, the biggest hands that's going to, that's going to do the business. Bjorn will say the same, Vlad will say the same, you and Havard, I'm sure, will tell you exactly the same thing. It's about the guy that's going to be left standing at the end that is willing to go that last. And the problem, the Germans are, they're a machine. They never stop. I don't know where they find these guys from, but I have to say this Norwegian team has found something bellissimo. That's the only way. I gotta do my Godfather impression. There's something very special about them.
Harvard, talking about the upcoming semi-final, what do you think about the German team? How much have you seen? What kind of team is Norway facing there tomorrow?
Yeah, obviously Germany had a bit of a struggle before this championship with a lot of injuries on Gensheimer and the other winger got injured just before, and Winczek, who obviously in Kiel, who was supposed to have a big role in that team, and they went into this championship like a bit of an underdog because they hadn't been on the spotlight for some time, really, and then they also got injuries in the game against Russia with 2 really important guys with Weinhall and Dissinger. So, but this, as Tom said, they just find new guys and they come with a spirit and a heart and they play really good handball, I think. And Dagur Sigurdsson, he's really done an excellent job with their team. They also have this belief and the momentum that you have to have if you're going to beat like Denmark in a game like that, and like Norway yesterday with France.
Bjorn, how do you see Germany? Obviously, you've seen them now for the entire tournament. Do you see similarities between how Norway developed this winning mentality, the self-confidence, and how Germany has developed? Obviously, they're on a 5-game winning streak, like winning mentality and self-confidence.
Funny enough, it was absolutely the same. Germany also started with a defeat in the Euro against Spain, what could be expected. Then they had the next tough match with Sweden. They won it by 1 goal. Then they won by 2 goals with Slovenia, and everybody said, yes, we reached our goal, we made it to the main round. So that was what they had at stake, which was really a goal they had. You just see that we are playing at the moment with the B team. So it's not only Gensheimer, it's Gensheimer, Grotzky, Winczek, who are out now. Dissinger and Weinhold are out. Allendorf is out. So the only position where we have our current number 1s is the goal. All other positions are number 2 or partly number 3. So then in the main round, it started with this big win against a very, very poor Hungarian team. And somehow they recognized, hey, we can win something here. The coach was really putting the foot on the brake and saying, I don't want to hear the word semi-final or anything. So they had no official goal. They said, we go to the next match, we want to win. And exactly now, what they say yesterday evening was, no one can stop us now. This is exactly what Harvard said about the Norwegian team, is they found this belief. They said, hey, we can make something really big here, and this will be really a great match tomorrow because exactly 2 times 16 players with the same mentality and with the same goals will arrive on court, and so I don't know how many extra times it might give, but exactly both sides go on court saying we have reached much more than our people at home expected from us. We can just play handball. We will not be stopped by anybody. And so I would even say that the winner of this semifinal, also it's from the paper, it's not the favorite, but the winner of this semifinal can go all the way.
Mm. Why was the development in the way you just described it, you reckon? What were like the key factors to this in the German team?
I would say the key factors is that the team, so the main key factor, as Harvard say, is definitely to get Dago Sigurdsson as a coach. So what he did, he arrived at the German team in September 2014, so he put a lot of young players in. He took out the old players, he gave some young players the playing time. Then they made a good tournament in Qatar where they could even go further on. They lost the quarterfinal, and then of course they had a good qualification for the Euro. So what they have is belief. What all those players have is individual skills, and what all players now have, which you have to see the development of the players, is also connected with the situation in the German league. That now the German clubs see we cannot count only on foreign players, but we should count on our young German players. I mean, you see, for example, the club of Füchse Berlin, where nearly all young players of German national team go through, or other clubs. So the young players are getting playing time in the German league. They can grow in the league, and they have not their debut in the national team at the age of 25, what they had before, but they go straight from the junior team, which is always one of the best in the world, straight into the men's team, like we had with this Yannick Kohlbacher. Nobody in Germany knew Yannick Kohlbacher before the Super Cup, and suddenly 3 line players were injured. Sigurdsson asked his assistant coach, who was also the assistant coach of the junior team, what line player do we have? And he said, hey, we have this great Kohlbacher there, just bring him in. And Kohlbacher made 3 international matches for the A team and was nominated for the Euro. So, and all those players arrived there with their skills, with their belief and their confidence. And the thing is that they work as a team. They function as a team. They have not the big star. Maybe Weinhold was the big star, or Gensheimer was the big star, or Krötzky, but the current team which is on court tomorrow, it's a team. It has no stars. It functions as a team.
It's an incredible semi-final, Thomas, because if you really think about it, and I'm sure the boys are saying the same, Havard had a problem remembering Gretzky's name, you know, and he was one of the starters. I mean, I would hate to be the commentator for this game tomorrow. The amount of work you'd have to do. I mean, most people can name kind of a couple of. You couldn't name any of these guys before this tournament. I'd say most people have never heard of Sagerson or Tunnison or Vida or Schmidt. I mean, it's incredible. We're talking about 28 guys. How many guys are on the bench, by the way? Is it 16 or 14? I never know. But anyway, we're talking about 28 to 30 guys that no one's ever heard of. And now suddenly they're in the semi-final, and you're thinking to yourself, holy mother of God, what the hell is going on? And the fact of the matter is, it's absolutely... Do you not feel that there's been a breath of fresh air breathed into a tournament that had gone stale with the same teams time and time and time again? And these young boys have just kicked everybody in the ass and said, wake up, you don't have to be 28 years of age and playing for 10 years for a club to be able to play as a team. And I love what Bjorn has said there. Every one of them is not a star, but everyone together creates this constellation of teamwork that is a beauty to behold. A beauty to behold. Thomas, just cut me off now. I have nothing more to say. I mean that's the best line I can come out with.
Just to continue on what Tom said is, you just have to look in the history of the Euro events. Since 2004, either it was France or Denmark who became Euro champion. So this is exactly 12 years now, which always the same teams won the Euro. So, and
you could nearly name the third place teams as well,
Croatia
and Spain. You could nearly name them all. Croatia, Spain, all right, Serbia now and again, but you can name them all. And then suddenly, I mean, look at Havard. He's bored stiff listening to us talking, but Havard, I'm telling you now, man, that Norwegian team is it's just beautiful.
Yeah, it is, and I agree. I have to go because I'm going live on Norwegian television in 10 minutes, so I have to go down to prepare, but obviously we wanna go all the way, and we're willing to lay our heart in the hall tomorrow to go to the final. So last thing we do is taking a selfie. Smile. And I'll see you later, guys.
Thank you
Thanks,
for
Howard.
joining us tonight. It was a pleasure having you. Thank you very much. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
You know what? Do you know what, guys? That just got us an extra 5 viewers on this Google Hangout, just having him on.
It's got us another, couple of hundred viewers, I think. And I hope you all stay with us here. I hope you all stay with us. You have to make up now. You have to make up now. This big gap. Well, we were talking a lot about team spirit and so on. Vlado, was that also the main difference when you look at Norway, when you look at Germany, compared to the teams that maybe were a bit saturated, France, and then at some point we have to talk about Poland as well.
Well, where to start? And if I start with France, then maybe you remember my prediction, pre-tournament prediction that it is not a surprise for me at all, and I even predicted the 6th place for the defending champions when we had these power rankings before the tournament, and this can also always still become the truth tomorrow. With France, I'm not putting their team spirit in question. I think that should be all right. The fact was that basically they reached a point where they needed to rejuvenate the team. It was inevitable, and the problem was that not the whole team was there yet. And maybe for the future events and for either the Olympic Games or their home World Championship next year, it will work better. But I really saw huge gaps after players like Jérôme Fernandez, who was like a glue for the whole French team. So in this case, it wasn't a team spirit. It was just that they haven't played enough together.
Thomas, sorry, Vlado.
Let me just finish this, Tom. With France, there is this interesting point that not only Norway and Germany are fielding young players, and France also used 4 guys who were under 21 or under 22, and this was kind of a phenomenon for the whole tournament that many coaches were brave enough to field these youngsters. Just have a look on yesterday's game, Belarus against Macedonia. For a moment, I had a feeling that for Belarus there were 4 teenage mutant Ninja Turtles, because they were green and there were 3 19-year-old guys playing in the starting lineup. I just failed to find Leonardo, but then on the other side in Macedonia, I found one 19-year-old guy, Kuzmanovsky. So yeah, it's a phenomenon probably of the whole tournament here. Tom?
Sorry, no. It was interesting when Vlado was talking there. I got the sense with France and with the likes of Denmark, those 2 teams in particular, and maybe Poland also, they're dependent on somebody to dig them out of the you-know-what when the going gets tough. For France, it's Karabatic. For Denmark, it's Mikkel Hansen. For Poland, it's Mikkel Jurecki, believe it or not. I mean, Bielecki will pile in with his goals, but when they really need that goal, those 3 guys are there, and they're like the personalization of the team, and when the going gets tough, they get going. The fact of the matter is, in a tournament like this, which seemed to be endless to me, like you were playing so many games, you're bound to have a bad game. And if Karabatic, who didn't play particularly well in the game, and by all accounts, Mikkel Hansen, when the time came in those last 7 minutes, couldn't find the goal, and Mikkel Jurecki, God help him, who's been brilliant for Poland all tournament, really looked like he was drained of every ounce in his body, couldn't find it. But let's revert back to what Havard said. I don't want to dwell on Norway all the time, or even what Bjorn said. If one guy's not doing it in Norway, they bring in another guy and the level doesn't drop. And it seems to be the same in Germany. These young boys are able to play, A, without fear, and secondly, their recovery time is so quick because they're young, 5 minutes after a game, they're ready to play another game. And I think that a team needs to be exactly that, and particularly in a tournament. And this particular tournament, France maybe were depending a little bit too much on on Karabatic to do it, Denmark on Hansen to do it, and Poland on Jurecki to do it. That's just my feeling watching what I watched.
Björn, do you feel sort of a longer dry period coming for these in terms of titles, in terms of success coming for excuse me, Denmark and France? Are they maybe going through, like a period that also the German team, went through for the last few years?
So I would say in 2012 on the Euro in Serbia, everybody said the golden generation of France is dead. Then came the the World Championship in Spain, and they lost the quarterfinal against Croatia, and everybody said this is the end of the big team. What they won is the Olympic gold, the World Championship gold, and the Euro gold. So I would say now Claude Nesta can prove that he's a good coach. He brought in some new players, but as Tom said, the thing in the French team is Didier Dinard is the boss for the defense, and Jérôme Fernandez and Nikola Karabatic are the boss of the attack. So they're outside ruling a little bit this team. So, and from the individual class, when you just look on the international results of last summer, French won all gold medals. In previous times, it was just saying that France only looking on the individual development of players. Now they look on the individual development of players and to win tournaments. So what generations are coming from France will be the next golden generation. I don't know why. Maybe I don't know when, but maybe already for the 2017 World Championship at home. They will have some real fresh blood in the team, and same for Denmark. This team is not too old. When you see, okay, Hans Lindberg, he just signed a new 3 years contract. A wing can play with 40. This is like other wings like Sigurdsson or Victor Thomas too. But this team, they missed 2 important players, Lasse Andersson and with René Toft Hansen. And the thing is that the Danes, I would say, when you look in the history and the tradition, Denmark also has great young players, talented players coming up. So I don't know if it's something goes down like so far as for Germany, that you miss a Euro and you miss a World Championship and you miss Olympic Games. I don't think that they will go that deep, but it might be that now definitely a new team will become Euro champion after all these long series of France and Denmark, but it will not take long when they are back on top.
Yeah, Thomas, I mean, we can only judge what we see at this tournament, and we've got to judge this tournament on its merits. Whatever happens in the future, it's like I said, this Norwegian team could go on to win the final. They could. Germany could go on to win the final, and then in the next one be knocked out in a preliminary round. That's kids for you, and that's youth for you. It's not something that's guaranteed. I think that we're always going to see France around. I mean, you look at these guys individually. All I'm saying in this tournament, they depended a lot on Karabatic to be the guy to get them out of the hole when they needed to be. The quick goal, the pass, the no-look pass, and so on. And the same for Mikkel Hansen and the same for Jurecki. And that was this tournament. Another time they could have the best tournament of their lives and win everything. And that's the kind of star player that maybe these young teams don't have, and so they're dependent on the collective. France will always be there. They have more money than everybody else. They've more academies than everybody else. It's not a question of if they will win or they will have a drought. It's a question of when they will win their next tournament for me.
Before we look into the second semi-final tomorrow between Spain and Croatia, I think we have to have a few words about Poland. I mean, Vlado, just because, I mean, you were in the arena, Tom, you were in the arena. I think you can give us the best account. Just simply what happened in this game against against Croatia?
Probably I start because my input will be much shorter, I guess. Okay, Tom? No, I think Poland just couldn't step off their own shadow, I don't know now. The whole country hoped that their heroes will finally lose their own hands after they beat France in the preliminary round, and that never happened. They were still in this huge cramp, both in attack and in the defense. They were not relaxed at all, even playing against on the paper weaker teams like Belarus, and they couldn't cope with the high expectation, which was omnipresent everywhere around them. So even the only game where they really played well against underdogs was against Belarus, and this was mainly probably just because Rutenka played just 90 seconds and then he got injured, and Belarusian game was gone. So, otherwise, probably we would see another struggling of Poles. So let's see what the new coach will be able to do, and whether they pick the right one. I think I heard some rumors that it should be the player who recently retired, a few years ago, Piotr Przybylski. So let's see what will happen with Poland.
Tom, yeah, how did you see?
Yeah, no, I would agree with what they said. If I can use a bit of imagery, it was almost like every 15,000 Poles in the stadium had a hammer in their hand, and for every miss or for every guy, even though they supported their team, it was like a hammer blow to these guys, and they were like 20 centimeters shorter by the time they finished the game. They had nothing left physically. They had nothing, to be honest with you. Even going into the game, they didn't look physically like they were still able to go. And you know, Thomas, it's such a shame, because I have never experienced an event like this in my life. It's absolutely incredible, the hospitality, what people will do for you, the food, the transport. I mean, the Polish Federation with the EHF have just put on an absolute stomping great Euros for us, really. And I'm sure everybody who's here will agree. It's wonderful. And it's such a shame that maybe they'll be remembered for collapsing, and really collapsing, in that game against Croatia last night, which, by the way, let's be fair, Croatia played, you know, the greatest defensive counter-attack game I've ever seen. And I stood on the second half on the floor so that I could see exactly what was happening. But it's such a shame for me, Thomas, because I really felt that the event deserved that the Polish national team would be dragged with it. And somewhere along the line, they lost the balance between a great event and a great team. And I feel terrible for the players, because they're a lovely bunch of guys. I mean, really nice bunch of guys, and I feel terrible for the organisers that they don't have their own national team in the final. But the fact of the matter is, they were so completely outplayed last night. You have no idea. It wasn't like a few decisions went against them. Yes, they had no luck at the start. They were hitting the post, and the ball was actually bouncing into the winger's hands for a counter-attack. But see they were 5 goals down, I think, at half-time, and I said, here comes the hammer. The Poles are going to come out in the second half, and they're going to destroy them. No, Croatia just believed and believed and believed. And Bjorn will remember, it was like Fuchs Berlin against Ademar Leon, that comeback in the Champions League, 11 goals down. And the Croats said, hey, this is handball, 11 goals is easy. And you know, I was watching the Croats, because I was watching Ivano Balic and them all sitting, and it felt like sometimes there were more Croatians in the hall, the way they were screaming for every goal. And as Vlado said, the pressure, the expectation was just too great for them, and physically they couldn't cope, and mentally they couldn't cope. And it really is a shame. But I do want to say, a brilliant event from the Poles. Really.
And can I just add one thing to this?
Yeah.
I'm not only sorry for the Polish players, but also for Polish handball fans, because these folks, they really do handball. And I think no better example, like I experienced in Katowice, in a venue where we had no major fan group, and our matches were colliding with the matches in Krakow. So the Polish games were on TV. We still managed to have over 7,000 people in the arena, mostly Poles, and that was something what probably we are not going to see so soon. So really, the best tournament ever.
Björn, Vlado hinted it already. Michael Biegler stepped down as the Polish coach today, and tomorrow the 7th-8th placement match will be his last at the team's helm. You had the chance to talk to him briefly today. What was the impression you got? What was kind of his tournament resume, so to say, that he told you?
He was absolutely, he said, after a match like this, there's no other logical consequence than stepping down. He said, I had already the decision in my head during the match. After the match, I told it to the team, and it's absolutely clear. We had a very successful time from 2012 on, including the highlight with winning the bronze medal, and exactly what Thomas and what Tom and Vlado said. He said, this tournament is from all terms of organization, from atmosphere, from fans, and brilliant, absolutely perfect. And he and his team are responsible for the sportive part of the tournament, and he failed, or the team failed, so he had to step back. There was no other option for him. He said, really, I feel so sorry for the fans. I feel so sorry for the Polish Handball Federation, which supported me, which supported the team, and I feel especially sorry for all the people involved in this great Euro. So, yeah. He will have a new project now, developing project in Uganda in Africa with handball. It will be a little bit different. So as you see, it was not the week of Michael Biekler. First, HSV handball got bankrupt. His club where he was also the coach. Then he had to resign from the Polish team. So there are, I think, people like others in the world who had more luck this week. But he was 100% saying there was no chance of going it together. And what Vlado named this player, what I heard also is that there might be a little switch from Hungary to Poland, because I heard that Hungary already asked for Biekler maybe, and then Dushebaev might get the Polish coach, maybe in an interim base until the Olympic qualification. So we have this old Kielce Federation connection. And yeah, I don't know how many time or how long Biekler will be in Uganda, but I think if they ask him that in April he has 3 days time for the Hungarians.
Thomas, I never know why you invite me onto these hangouts. Bjorn knows more than all of us put together. I could listen to him all night. He's got all the information. The biggest mistake he made there was not giving Biegler some good news. He just told him, right, you've lost your job there, you've lost your job here, you're on your way to Uganda. I mean...
He told him he's already got a new job coming up. I think that's...
in Uganda, Thomas, you know? I mean...
Maybe in Hungary as well, who knows?
No, well, that's also, I forgot about that, yeah. Part, yeah. But if that's his new job, that's a seriously tough job too, by the way.
Uganda.
No, Uganda might be easier than Hungary, I think.
Guys, let's have a look at the second semi-final, and first, because we just talked about Croatia's game. This 14-goal win, Vlado, to you again, because you saw Croatia, in a probably not so convincing preliminary round. You saw them in the main round in Krakow. But this 14-goal win, is that maybe the momentum they just needed and they just got at the right time to, get them to the very top? Or
difficult to say. They had a very good game against Iceland as well. Sorry, and they were not able to repeat it in the first main round games. So. And they were very weak and inconsistent against France. So, yeah, I don't know. If they have the same approach, that they just come to play their best handball, and then they will see what they can do with the results. Maybe, To be honest, with this team, I never doubted about the killer instinct of their wingers who were just brilliant yesterday, or about Dubniak's orchestrating mastermind talent, but I saw as an Achilles heel of this team, I saw their goalkeeping position, and it was very interesting to see that yesterday Ivano Stevanovic was for the first time in the goal from the very beginning of the game, and it looked like it was a good decision. Alilovic had just one reasonably good game against Iceland in the preliminary round, and I think Stevanovic, he really took his chance, and let's see whether he will remain in the goal and can give some test to the Spanish shooters, although his counterpart is much more impressive so far.
Tom, what did you make out of this Croatian team before last night's game and after last night's game?
Okay, well, I'm gonna pick three games as Croatia in a nutshell, and I totally agree with Vlado about the goalkeeping situation. Although I wouldn't be as hypercritical on Alilovic, because in the game they lost, he was trying to say with the French game, I mean, the guy was left; he was completely isolated. I mean, the French
That's
team
true.
tore him apart. Okay, so I wouldn't be as critical. First thing is they have to deal with a really weird expectation. They're either gods at home in Croatia, or else they're the worst team that ever stepped into a Croatian team uniform. You know, so really they can't win. Well, they can win, but they're always like wondering where they stand. So let me take those two games where their defense worked, which was the Iceland game and the Poland game, and my God, they made both of those teams look ordinary. I mean, my under-11s back home in Luna's handball club could have beaten Poland and Iceland the way they looked playing against this defensive system for Croatia. Same defensive system against France, torn to absolute shreds. I mean, really looked like there was nothing working for them at all. And my feeling is that Spain is that type of team, you know. They're nice on little short tactics, little 1-against-1s, little 2-against-2s. Manolo, of course, likes the team to move and to play and to move the defence out of position, but he might not need to do that because this defence moves so much. I mean, they're really they're quite active in the defence, and I think that will suit the Spanish style of play because they like these little round the corner balls. And then Julian Galde, if you give him too much room in behind the defence, forget about it, right? The other thing is that with Sterbic and Gonzalo in goal, Spain have got two better goalkeepers. But I think it's an intriguing matchup because if you look at Spain, just taking Croatia out of the equation there for a second, if you look at Spain, they haven't really played fantastically well in any game. But they've won it. I mean, they've lost or they've drawn, and they might not have done exactly perfectly, but they've got themselves to where they need to be. And now my feeling is that this Spanish team's got a really big performance, and they're probably two really big performances. So Croatia's defence and counter-attack is at the highest level when it works. When it doesn't work, they have really serious problems. What I will say is that I'm very impressed with Marco Kopiar. They gave him the captaincy, and he looks like he's stepped up again because Marco's not a guy to run the game for you, you know. And I like Karacic. I also like Sindric, although he hasn't played as much. So they've got a lot of movement, and the Spanish defence will have to be really strong against them. But if the Croatian defence doesn't work, then the Croatian team doesn't win this game. It doesn't win this game. There you go.
Björn, Tom mentioned Spain. You've seen them again all the way in Wroclaw. Is the time ripe for them? Is that a team that can win the Euro for the first time?
At first, I want to add one thing to Tomo Brannigan. This is Coach Babic. I would say 80% of all Croatians wanted to fire him before the last match, and now he's the biggest hero of the country. So it switches quite quickly, especially in Croatia, from idiot to hero. So wait and see what they will do on Monday with him. So. But back to Spain. Spain has not played perfectly at the moment. They won all matches except the one against Denmark, but they were not like outstanding when you say, well, what an exceptional Spanish performance. But they won it. So they got the points. They made it there as the group winner to the semifinal. What was their goal? So, and I guess when you see that Sterbic was out for 2 matches with a light injury, and then Gonzalo stepped in, and Sterbic came back against Denmark with incredible 21 saves. And yesterday, Sterbic also got a little injury. But when you see this bear in the goal, and he moves 6 meters per match, but in the end, he will be the one who will decide the semifinal, I would say, as I also see that the Croatians have the weaker goalkeepers. Either maybe they have a late replacement that Filip Ivic is back or something like this, but I don't know exactly what they are doing. No, but to be honest, the Spanish defense is strong. They have these real tall defenders, and Guardiola is back now, so he had a finger injury. So Guardiola is back in the defense. They have 2 line players with Aguinaldo and Baena in attack, which are good. They have wings. And if nothing helps, Makeda shoots from 18 meters, I would say. So I would say from the individual and the tactical class, Spain are better. But when you had a match like the Croatians had against Poland, you're on a high flyer. You cannot stop. Strelec and Čupić will run and run and run. So this is, I have to quote the German national team coach again. He said, of course, Spain and France have bigger names than Germany and Norway at the moment. Spain and Croatia have bigger names than Germany and Norway, but at the stage of the tournament as it is now and the performing level as we had before, there's no favorite. Everybody can become Euro champion on Sunday.
I think that's our catchphrase here. You know, as we're slowly coming to an end of this hangout, who will top the podium at the end of this?
As usual, I have to start. I just met the only handball person in the world who was 3 times Olympic champion, and this is the Russian goalkeeping legend Andrei Lavrov, and he's now, I think, the head of delegation of the Russian team, and he came to me and said, Björn, all Russia, and this is a big country, as you know, is crossing the fingers for Norway, of course, because if Norway becomes European champion, then Russia qualifies for the Olympic qualification tournament. So if whole Russia crosses the finger for Norway, this could be a major advantage. But I would say, in the end, the final will be, I don't know. I have no clue. To be honest, I have no clue. There's no favorite. I cannot say this or that and this and that. Sorry, today, first time, no prediction.
Do we get a name from you, Vlado?
Yeah, I'm sticking to my pre-tournament prediction, which was Spain, and unfortunately, I have to replace Poland. That would be Norway for me. And I don't know, shall we carry on or just winner?
Winner is okay. Winner is okay.
So I trust Spain.
Yeah, you've just gone through the hundreds and hundreds of papers that you printed out for preparation.
Yeah. I actually thank you, girls in the office. I think they'll be more happy with me calling them girls. But thank you, ladies.
What is enough to name a favorite, Tom?
Well, listen, I had to get the team sheets because I couldn't name any player on the teams. I was going, who? Who the hell is that guy? Who the hell is Hofner? I mean, who knows these guys? Hefner, yeah.
After this Euro, we will give you a course in umlauts, Tom.
Thank you very much. Well, first of all, Thomas, I don't want to play your little games like all you presenters do. Ooh, who's going to win? Because I've got to do 2 interviews with the German team and the Spanish team later tonight. And not that I think any of the players might watch it, but there might be somebody watching it. Send them a message says, "Ooh, Tom thinks Spain's going to win," and suddenly Dagger Sigurdsson says, "Oh, so you think Spain's going to win, Tom? There's your interview's gone." So I think Spain and Germany they could go all the way, the two of them, you know. Just in case anyone's watching. And if anybody from Norway or Croatia is watching, guys, thanks for doing the interviews. And but you know, you've really got no chance. No, Thomas, I'm with Bjorn on this. Honest to God, if yesterday is anything to go by, as a very top ranking official in the EHF said to me, this is a tournament.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, we'll be wiser on Sunday. And I'm not going to press you to name any kind of names here. But we have started today, and that's a bit more personal, and I think you can, we have started the All-Star team vote, and I would like you guys to name a player for certain positions. We had 2 positions actually assigned to Harvard, but as he left us, we'll leave them.
Who was he going for?
Right wing, for him. Vlado, you joined a bit later, but we had the best defender and the right back for you. Björn, we had the goalkeeper and the line player for you, and Tom, left back and centre back. I'm sure Björn's already made up his mind. So if you had to name an all-star team, Björn, who would you put on the goalkeeper and on the line position?
Yes, in the end, for the line player position, I think the last 8 All-Star teams looked on this position nearly the same. I can remember when there was someone else than Julen Aginagalde, when we only talk about of course the attack performance. And when you see him, I saw all the matches of him now. You can stop him. Either it's a goal or it's a penalty shot. So I go for line player. Maybe it's a little bit boring, but I say Julen Aginagalde for me was the best line player. So for the goalkeeper, I was thinking. So, but in the end, they had all world play with his name because it was so funny what you could do with the name Wolf. The wolf eats them, the wolf goes them, the evil wolf, the good wolf, the bad wolf. So he came from nearly nothing. It was a surprise in half of Germany, in the handball community, when Dago Sigurdsson named his squad for the Euro quite early, and Silvio Heinevetter was out, and he said, my number 1 is Carsten Lichtlein, and my number 2 is Andreas Wolf. So then the Euro started, and Lichtlein did not start so well, and then he changed to Wolf, and then he had this match against Sweden, and he had this match against Denmark, and he had this match against
everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So I go for Andreas Wolf. unsure if anybody betted before this tournament something on a semi-final Germany-Norway, or that Andreas Wolf can become an all-star goalkeeper. Otherwise, he's a rich man now.
Okay, Wolf in goal, Aguinaldo on the line.
Yeah.
Thomas, even though it's not my place,
yeah.
I'm not gonna say what Havard would have chosen.
Are you giving us a left wing or a right wing here?
I'm just going to throw it into the mix and see if the guys agree with me.
Yeah.
Based on the performances in the games that it's worked, I'm going to say as a team, I'm going to go Horvat right and Sturlek left. The way they played in yesterday's 20 minutes and before that, and it could be Horvat / Stupic. Those three, I know it's only two, but I'm going to go Horvat and Sturlek. Would you agree, boys? They were incredible. That's a no. Nobody's agreeing with me. Okay.
But
it could also be the Norwegian boys, you know.
Vlado, going to best defender and right back first, and then Tom has last say as usual.
When is the deadline for the vote?
The deadline, fans can go to ehfeuro.com and vote until Saturday, 12 o'clock.
Midnight?
No, in the midday.
Okay. Anyway, so we can judge upon the semi-final games. Yeah. So before I vote, I will definitely have to see the semi-final games. But I dare to do something like after main round. All-star team for me, and I tweeted it. Maybe I can just show you this. Not sure how.
Show it to us.
How successful I will be. Do you see anything?
Oh,
no.
Good.
No.
Good. We had
a
goal.
So I call this team Black Lads.
You have to speak. Zaldatsenka in goal.
Zaldatsenka in goal. Yeah, exactly. It's a word play as well. Like with Wolf, his name is like Little Soldier or something like that. So he's my soldier for the goalkeeping position. And for the wingers, then I chosen Strelek and Reichmann.
Reichmann, yeah. And then you go to Hansen.
I got
speak, because otherwise we can't see it. Yeah, perfect.
You can't see it. All right. So then I go back. I got on the left back I got Hansen, center Dagosen, and line player Aguinaldo, right back Jakobsson, and I don't have the best defender here, but I would go for Jakov Goyun.
Lots of Croatian players here in our little all-star team. Tom, you give us your names for left back and centre back, please.
Okay, to be honest with you, nobody has really stood out for me as being absolutely outstanding in sense that they would absolutely, in my mind, be the guy that I would definitely have in my team, because there's been ups and downs. So what I'm doing is I'm going to go for two Norwegians, both which sometimes change position. And I know you guys are going to say that I did it because he's the Irish guy, but I'm going to go for Christian O'Sullivan. That I always feel when he comes on, he changes a little bit the dynamic of the Norwegian team. You're laughing, Vlado, but I'm putting O'Sullivan out there as the only Irish guy in the whole tournament, and I'm putting Sagosen beside him, and they're interchangeable. So O'Sullivan and Sagosen, just as it, because Raul Entrerrios for me is one of the best centre players in the world. Canellas, when he's on his game, is also one of the best centre players in the world, and blah blah blah. Mikkel Hansen, Nikola Karabatic. But these two guys, I don't know what it is about O'Sullivan. When I see him come on, I just feel like there's a fresh burst of Irish wind comes into the sails of Norway, and he really drives them forward. I'm a big fan of Christian O'Sullivan.
I have to say, Tom, that I was really glad that in Katowice there was the first game of the tournament. And I was really glad that it was Croatia, Belarus, and not Norway, Iceland. Otherwise, I would probably see you tweeting that Christian O'Sullivan will score the first Euro goal.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you did for the Champions League, and you were right.
I told him that today, by the way. He didn't believe me, but I told him, No, but I just like the way he does it. And I'm going for something a little bit different. Because that's happening a lot in handball now. You've got that interchange between left back and centre where guys can play basically both positions. And I think the two of them together play really, really well. I like it a lot.
Just one say when we talk about these players and the whole semifinals, as we also come back to some Champions League hangouts, of course, no player of Paris Saint-Germain is in the semi-final.
Did you know, guys, that in 1912, Luxembourg won 2 gold medals?
All right, yeah, how do you always call it? It's the beer and nut knowledge, isn't it? Like when
Beer
you're
and-
at the bar and you just
Beer
like.
and nut knowledge for hotel bars, yes.
Yeah, that's Bjorn Patson, everybody. I mean,
Well, guys,
we'll keep
it's
that for
been,
the Champions League hangout.
It's been a
Before
pleasure having you
you
here.
finish, Thomas, are you going to close it up?
Well, if you've got something more to say, go ahead.
I just, after 2 weeks in Poland, or more than 2 weeks, I'm still struggling with my Polish. And as I know that Tom is really good at these things, I was wondering whether he could help me out with something what I'm going to show him, and whether he can read it for me. Almost good, almost. Let's see what the comments will be.
Okay, but I do want to say, Thomas, I do want to say that for those people who are stuck in hotel rooms, the Sveža Povjeća, the fresh air is very good out there, and tonight the księżyc is beautiful in the sky. Dzień dobry, Polska. Dziękuję bardzo for everything that you've done, and my MVP for you guys, just for you guys, Polska, because I love you so much, is Mikhail Jurecki.
Well, the word's out. Vlad has put the word out there for all our, followers on Twitter. Rate Tom's Polish. I say dziękuję. Thank you very much. Thank you to joining this hangout. It's been a pleasure having you.
Papa.
Now, we can all meet at the hotel bar for some beer and nut knowledge.
It takes me 3 hours, Thomas.
You guys, thanks for everything.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.